Good day. If you're listening to me, you must be in Mrs. Rodriguez's third hour. And today, one of the assignments I had for you is learning about cultures and what that entails. Most of us are of mixed culture, myself included. I'm part Indian, Cheyenne Indian, and I've shared that with you guys before. I'm also part Mexican. And recently, or as recent as like 12 years ago, I found out that my father's country of origin, his would be my great father, no, would be my grandfather. His country of origin was actually Nicaragua, so which is a hard word for me to say. I don't know a whole lot about that, but what I do understand of it, my dad used to, when he would speak Spanish and somebody would speak to him, he'd have a hard time kind of understanding some of the different words. And also, there's a variation. So you can be a Latin based culture, and if you're from like Guatemala, Nicaragua, like I said, um, even parts of the Philippines and Guam, they do speak a type of Spanish. The fact that you also have people from Spain, they speak Spanish, but it's a very different Spanish. People from Mexico, even within that country, there is lots of different dialects. So people vary. Along with the language that begins to change, we also have things like traditions. Some people will kind of tweak their traditions. If you think about it, we have, as far as my native culture goes, we have a lot of respect for the earth. And the one thing I always do is I like to go out and I harvest sage, and it's called white sage, is what we call it. And it's a bigger type of sage. It's very fragrant. We use it for a lot of ceremonies. There's also sweetgrass. So I do a lot of things having to do around the white sage. Now, when I'm harvesting it, I make an exchange with the earth. And no, if you're outside of the culture, that sounds very strange. But as you take the sage, I always carry water with me, and I give that plant a drink, and I thank it for the gift of the sage that I can use. So there's things like that. There's another tradition that's pretty popular, and it's gained a lot of momentum lately. It's called Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, and that happens a few days after Halloween, around November 2nd. And that's a very Mexican tradition. You make these little places called alturas, and the alturas translate to an altar. And what you do on that altar is you show pictures of that family member, and then you place items that they really liked when they were alive. Um, it's sometimes food, sometimes it's just like toys or different items that they really enjoyed. And it's a way to honor those people. Within the native culture, depending on the tribes, some people will not mention that person's name that has already passed. And that's the way they uh, honor them, is they do not mention them. It's not like they wipe them away, but you don't mention them because they've already passed and they're making a different journey. So you don't call them back, is what they think. Another little tidbit about tradition, my grandmother, whenever butterflies were close by, she would tell me those are our relatives visiting us. So different little traditions, and that's what I'm talking about. So I really want to get you thinking and tell me, what kind of traditions do you have in your family? You may have something as simple as, like, on Easter you make ham, or at Christmas time you make a Christmas ham. Some people even like to cook a goose, and yes, I'm talking about the actual large bird, and it's a Christmas goose. You've seen that in the Christmas Carol, that type of things. So there's all kinds of different traditions that we have, and knowing where those traditions come from give you a clue to what kind of culture is behind that. And your culture really has to do with your country of origin. Where did your people come from? Where did your grandmothers, your great grandmothers, where did they originate from? Some of us from Mexico, some of us from England, French, German, we don't know. So that's kind of what you're doing. You're going to have a sheet of paper that looks like this, and I'm going to go ahead and attach the video if I can get it to come up. I was having trouble with it the other day, and you'll be able to see that video. On the flip side of this is this worksheet, and it's going to have your name, and it's going to have your culture. Okay, and it's a kind of a what about me, and what kind of culture do you practice or do you relate to? um, it's a little bit different for each one of us, even of those of us who have like a dual culture. There is also some French in my background as well. I do not practice any of it because I don't know a whole lot about it. I haven't felt very close to it. The people that raised me practice more of a native culture, and so that's kind of what I tend to fall towards or move towards. We'll call that. So, anyway, I want you to have fun with this, and please, by all means, do your best um, to go ahead and get this completed. All right. You guys have a great day. Stay healthy, and it's almost the end of the year. All right. So take care. You have 2 days to work on this. All right. Thank you.